Yo, 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 my people. The level sound good, people. The level sound good. Yes, people, welcome back into the studio. It's your boy, Jason Gooner. And we are in the studio to discuss the post-match show. We're going to have the analysis, the full analysis and breakdown of the first game. Jamaica getting the better of Trinidad 3-2. So we have to touch on the diaspora fans turning up and showing out. All four teams, actually, I have to say, well supported. Of course, Trinidad and Tobago drowned out a bit yesterday by the Jamaicans, but today I thought Ghana and Nigeria definitely showed out as well. We're going to talk about that game as well because we now know who Jamaica will face in the finals, people. That final is going to be, I believe, 12 o'clock Eastern time, 11 o'clock Central time, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it is there. I think the third place game will be very early in the morning, like 7 Eastern, 6 Central, something like that. I know that the Champions League game is that afternoon, so I think the final is a little bit before that. So yeah, if anybody in the chat that thinks that's wrong, I know it's 5 p.m. UK time, which I believe is 5 hours ahead of the Eastern Standard right now. So yeah, the game is set, people. If you don't know, if you haven't found out yet, Nigeria beat Ghana today 2-1. So the Reggae Boyz will be taking on the Super Eagles in the final, and the Soca Warriors take on the Black Stars in the third place game. So the semifinal, the third place, and the finals are set. So we're gonna talk about tonight the Ghana Nigeria game, what I saw from it, how we can maybe get the better of this Nigeria team, and what we have to look out for with this Nigeria team to make sure that they don't beat us, right? Yeah, so a lot to talk about tonight in the episode. First thing I'm going to do as well as we start the show, I'm going to play the post-match press conference. We're going to discuss that. And then I have some highlights. I'm going to show them on the screen because big ups to, I think it was, I'm getting the clips from Max TV Ghana. Yeah, so big up to them for showing the game. Of course, JFF Live had the game as well, although supporting that. Definitely big ups to all of you lot supporting the JFF Live platform, the subscription and the membership to watch the games there. Yeah, so big up to the Reggae Boyz for yesterday's performance. Definitely a roller coaster of emotions, but isn't it always with the Reggae Boyz team? Look, the first half of football, which we're going to talk about, sometimes I had to wonder, like, is this Jamaica I'm watching? Some of the slick passing, the movement, the fluidity, was really loving it, especially the midfield play. Even the attackers, most of the time, good fluidity. Even Cephas, at times, linking up play well, not just playing by himself, but, you know, he does revert to type every now and again. But, boy, it's like he can make you so happy and so angry at the same time. But, yeah, we're going to talk about all of that. I think there were definitely some positives from the game yesterday. Definitely a few negatives as well, and I'll discuss that throughout the analysis tonight. All right. Definitely at some point as well, I'm going to open up the phone line. So if people want to give their thoughts on the game or anything we talk about tonight, definitely more than welcome to do so. People, as you start to let people know we're in the building, definitely please do like, share, and subscribe. Those are the things that you really have to do to support the channel. Of course, there are other ways to support as well. You can drop your comment in the form of a super chat, and you can also become a member. I don't have as high a price as some places. It's just $1.99 to join. That's just another way to show your support. Definitely support the channel monthly. The subscriptions, memberships do add up. So it's just a way to, you know, make sure that Jason Gooner TV can actually still do content. Yeah, so if you like what you're seeing when you come to the program, you like what you're hearing, more specifically when you come to the program, definitely consider becoming a member of the channel. All right, people. But first and foremost, remember, like the video, people. Yes. Big up to Drew Ross, moderator on the channel, says like, share, and subscribe. That is the motto, Drew Ross. So let them know every time. MF, big up yourself, brother. Thanks for tuning in. Always opinionated, and we love that here on the channel. So don't be shy to give your opinion. So first and foremost, people, as I said, as people are rolling into the building, before I start to get into my breakdown of the game, I wanted to just hear what the coach had to say about the game first. So let me go ahead and play the audio from the press conference, the Unity Cup post-match press conference, and see what Coach McLaren had to say about the performance and what questions were asked of him after the game as well. So let me get that for you. Where is it? All right, this should be it right here.
Members of the media, good evening. Thank you very much for your patience. The post-match press conference for Jamaica against Trinidad and Tobago, semi-final 1 in the Unity Cup. We're joined with the head coach of the Jamaica Senior Men's National Team, the Reggae Boyz, Coach Steve McLaren. Before we open the floor for questions, we're going to have a few opening remarks from Coach in reflection, and then we'll open the floor for questions. So, Coach, initial reaction, boys in London, and a win.
Yeah, I think it was always going to be a difficult game for the full 90 minutes because one day's preparation was not ideal. People flying over, jet lagged. Most of the players not playing for 3 weeks, and so they've done remarkably well to come away with a victory. Delighted with the first half. I thought we were excellent. Really should have been a few more than just the one we got. And then we got the second and relaxed a little bit. And then we thought we were just planning for penalties, and thank God we got a penalty just for one. And Richard King smashed it away perfectly. I think it was important to win. It must have been for the neutral, I don't know, a great game because it was end to end. There was chances. It was great football as well. They're very technical, tactical. Trinidad, we knew that, but our boys did really well in terms of discipline, the game plan, and the transitions that we had and opportunities to score. I'd say we should have scored more than 3, but normally you're happy with 3. But there were 2 penalties, which. But
yeah, man, the same.
The key thing is there was a lot of pressure on the players today. First time for a lot of them, all of them really. First time in the UK playing for Jamaica. For the UK players, their families, the kids, we've never seen Daddy playing in a Jamaica shirt. I've had the privilege of that. And I think they love that. I think the Jamaicans coming over have had a great experience already about what Europe is about, what international football is about. We're delighted. But I think the key thing is, like we said, the fans were fantastic. They were really, from the beginning when we stepped out on the field before the warm-up, during the warm-up, and during the game, even when it went to 2-2, they were always behind the team. And I think the key was obviously winning this game, but it was also in the performance to make the supporters proud and with a smile when they leave the stadium. And that's what the players have done. They've achieved victory. Jamaicans looked proud as we went round, and they were all smiling. And that's what we like in Jamaica, I know that. So for a few days we can enjoy it, then get back to work. And a tough game on Saturday, whoever.
Thank you, Coach. We can now open the floor for questions. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Steve. Congrats on the win. I just want to find out, do you have a preference for an opponent on Saturday? Would you want to face Ghana or Nigeria? Which one would you want to take on Saturday, the final?
I'm going to watch the game tomorrow, so after the game I'll tell you. It's who we have to. It's different totally, isn't it? So I've not seen a lot of either team, apart from they've got good players and good squads. So we'll just enjoy this, recover, and hopefully the fans will come again on Saturday, and we put in a good performance. The key for me was playing good football and a good performance and create chances, and there was exciting football, and also from Trinidad. So I think for the neutral, even for the 2 supporters, Trinidad and Jamaica, it was a game of football and a good game of football.
All right, if you're going to follow up with other questions, please raise your hand, and then we can continue from there.
Now I interrupt the show, but had few news. DJ plays tomorrow at 1 p.m. for promotion. All right, people. So DJ tomorrow at 1. For those who want to catch that game, that will be easy to find for promotion into the top flight. So a big game for him tomorrow.
And then we can continue from there.
And Blake is back, people.
Gary.
Start tonight for Philly.
All right, Gary, go ahead.
Hello, Coach. Gary once again, JFF Live. Overall, from preparation standpoint, did you think today's game will get your players in the way to be for the second one coming out? You just mentioned you had one day.
One day, yeah. You was there, you know. It's been a difficult 2 days and a lot of detail and information put into the players. We hope that, you know, our squad was 17 outfield players and 3 goalkeepers. So we're still 3 short, and I think that showed in terms of as the game went further on. We'll hope to get a couple who might come out to give us reinforcements for Saturday. Warner Brown being one of them, and that would have been a nice asset for us. So hopefully we'll recover, have a couple of days to prepare, be in better shape for a tough game on Saturday.
Yeah, and as far as being resilient, this is like another third game this year alone where we finished it off very much towards the end of the game where we come out with a victory. What does that say about the team's resilience and not being able to give up and play the full 90 minutes?
I think the key was the reaction after 2-2. Was a little bit stunned. We didn't see it coming. But the reaction from the team was excellent. It never panicked, never lost its focus, and carried on playing. So I was really pleased in that respect. Showed maturity and belief. But as you say, I don't know what's that 4 and 5 in stoppage time. And that's one of our mottos: fight and don't give in.
Thanks, Coach.
Any other questions from the members of the media? Yes, go ahead.
Hi Steve, Michelle Schlager from Olympics.com. Congratulations on the win. When you're watching the game tomorrow, what exactly are you going to be looking for? Is it going to be more a sense of getting an idea of their tactics or looking at the strongest players in the pitch?
Bit of both. I think it's, obviously formation. Saying that we expected Trinidad to play with a 3-5-2 and the surprises with a 4-3-3 and even a changed second half. So we adapted really well, from what preparation we'd done. So it's just to get an idea of, obviously, the strengths of each team, the formation, the strongest players, strengths and weaknesses. So just the usual opponent scouting. But the key thing is, it was important to win today because of the FIFA points as well. So Saturday will be nice. Hopefully, a couple more players coming in. And another good performance. That was for me the key. Was were we disciplined? Did we have good shape? Were we front foot? Were we aggressive? And we've got speed, and we used it on transition a lot. And I'm personally just delighted for Burrell. It plucked.
So I didn't mean to stop it there, but I'm kind of glad I did, because you said a couple more players coming in. So people, who are these players that are coming in? We had a report out of Jamaica that Busy arrived with the team today. So we'll see. I haven't seen JFF put that out by themselves, but I have heard that he is actually on the. He did arrive today, as far as I know. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's one of the additions and a couple of players the coach is talking about. I think only 20 players made the squad yesterday, dressed out to play the game. So not the most ideal situation, but I did get a report today. Big ups to BAM Sports. Said that Dwayne Atkinson has arrived in England and joined up with the Reggae Boyz. This was about an hour ago. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have been like right now so late. So it must have been a bit earlier. He got the news, he put it out. So big up to BAM Sports. I saw that news right before I came on actually, that he is there. So he said a couple more players he's expecting. I have heard of one in particular, but we'll wait and see if the JFF do release something. I know that he didn't mention visa issues for Busy. I think okay, Busy just landed. All right, so it was now. So he's getting there like 4 in the morning. Wow. All right, so him have Thursday, Friday, and then yeah. So it's that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, Brown and Busy would make 22. Now I know Brown was visa issues. I think Busy was more just think Busy was more just not Busy. Brown was more no Busy was more just the dehydrated situation, and I think he was still being monitored health wise, you know. So they just were making sure everything was good before they sent him on a plane. But yeah, tough luck for Busy though all season so far. Like every time there's a local game, something is wrong with him. Everybody pretty much knows if you're talking about the local contingent, you know, he's got to be in there with all of the players. You know, he's up there as, if not the best, one of the best. And it's just been a little bit unlucky for him with the timing of his injuries so far this year. But hopefully he can put a good showing tomorrow or Saturday if he gets to play.
You know, he plucked from nowhere.
I was going to talk about Ramon Burrell.
Plucked from.
Oh, come on, man, stop being a jerk.
You know, he plucked from nowhere, and you know, playing for Burton, scoring goals, bit of an unknown. His come here has been quiet. It must have been a huge game for him and his family. I know they're all here. And what a debut to score, and that goal that he got is what we saw in him. He's always in the 6-yard box, always. When a cross comes in, when there's bouncing around, he's always in the 6-yard box, and that's a real strength of a number 9.
Yeah, that's a great point that McLaren made about Burrell. You know, when I look, he's a player that kind of slipped through my radar for sure. So when McLaren says popped out of nowhere, it was kind of popping out of nowhere for me. Now, I knew the name from lists that I have seen in terms of like, you know, like there's a link tree that's out there. I think what's his name? Reggae Boyz Central, I think the guy's name was. I used to hear him on these YouTube platforms, but I think he has kind of shied away from the YouTube spotlight. But he had a database, and I remember seeing him on that. But I can't say that I was tracking him and following him. Now, when his name was mentioned as a new recruit and everything, I did go and do some research, try to watch back full games, saw some highlight clips, pretty much watched his entire season highlights, right? Was able to compile different clips to basically see most of his appearances this year. And one thing that stood out to me for sure were a couple of things. The first thing I thought was, I think a lot of times I kind of know what the Jamaican fan base, what type of players they will like. So, of course, they like flair players. So if you have flicks and tricks, they'll like you more than normal, right? But another thing I think Jamaicans resonate to is just energy level. So if you put out what looks to be the most effort possible, I think people will have more time for you in a Jamaican fan base, right? So that's one thing that stood out to me about Burrell. Definitely not the type of striker that just sits around waiting for an opportunity to pop up. He wants to be creative. He wants to be involved in setting up the opportunity if he can. He's a willing runner, and definitely somebody that looks like he takes just as much pride in when he doesn't have the ball as when he has the ball, which is very, very important as a striker, especially a striker in Jamaica's team. And that's one of my key analysis points that I want to talk about later in the show. How important it is to have a certain type of striker in the way McLaren wants to play, right? So Ramon Burrell, I think that fox in the box poacher mentality as well, mixed with the work rate, I think he's exactly what Jamaica needed. And he also can see he's an egoless striker. That's something that I don't think we have seen a lot for Jamaica, is an egoless striker. So those are a couple of things that I think will endear him to fans very quickly. And, you know, it's very good when you can watch a player and look at his highlights over the season, and he literally scores a goal that looks just like one of the goals he just watched in his highlights package, right? Fox in the box, first to react, definitely good goal scored by Burrell. And I think all facets of his game were on display, and he did a good job. And we'll talk about him more in detail as the show goes. But here we go back to the press conference. Bless up to Tennessee. Big up yourself. Bless up Duke in the building. The early show, bro. May I try cater to my older fans like yourself that need an rest. You know, may I try get it out early. No, to be honest, wifey and I have an empty house. I just sent my kids to go and be with their grandparents in Jamaica. So I am doing this show early on purpose because I have an empty house. So you guys use your imagination and figure out why I want to get the show done early. All right. So if you see me rush off and I don't know where I'm going. That is true, Rob Smith. But later in my analysis, I'm going to explain why it's good for the striker to not have it. All right. Yo. Big up Charles Brown. What go on? Problems with picking the striker pool. Hey, good problems though. Like those are the problems that we like. You know, my striker half is selfish. All right, Rob Smith. I'm going to try to explain myself because there's nothing wrong with being a selfish striker at times. But I'm going to explain why I said that about our striker.
You did feel like a home game. It was really loud from the Jamaica contingent. So did you feel like you were playing in front of your fans at home?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they asked him how he feels about playing in front of English fans.
Absolutely.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely. They're always vocal, home or now away. And it was just, you know, that's why we're here. And I said that from the first press conference, why we're here. We're here for experience for the Jamaica players playing UK. The UK players to play in front of family and friends and kids wearing a Jamaica shirt. But most important for, you know, 2.5 million people in this country, 500,000 living in London. Yeah, and it felt like, you know, we had them all in here, the noise they made. And you know, when you're in Jamaica, there's a lot of noise.
Any further questions?
Yeah,
Yes,
ended the game there.
We're out from nowhere. Can you just elaborate where you got when you saw it?
Elaborate on Burrell.
Yeah, we, in fact, we're about halfway through the season and we've got good people on the ground and we're always searching. Recruitment is so important for us. And definitely since Mikel Antonio got injured, we've been looking for a number 9. And, you know, we had Warner Brown, who had a great game against St. Vincent and scored goals. We didn't have him because of visa problems. Hopefully they're solved and he can come over. So we're a little short of a 9 and we've watched him. And I know Gary Boyer very well. So I had a chat with Gary as well. And, you know, the key thing why we brought him in is because he's a worker. He's a runner. And he runs in behind. And he's always a threat. And the key thing is he's always in the middle of the goal. What he has to do is obviously the ratio of chances that he gets, he needs to score. But if he's composed and he learns, that will come. So I'm delighted for him and gave exactly what we expected.
All right, so interesting there what he said about him. He said he's a willing worker, willing runner, and a worker. And he said that, you know, the more he improves in front of goal, just keeps his composure, the more he'll improve. And he did get a gilt-edged chance, which we're going to talk about and show when I, you know, show some clips from the game. But Look, I just feel like there was so much positive about what he was doing on the pitch. Even the moments when his technique might have let him down, a miscontrol or, it just didn't come off for him. I just love the fact that his first reaction was always to try to win the ball back. And if he couldn't win the ball back, his next reaction was to get into a solid defensive shape to help the team. Did not have a mentality where he got down on himself if he did make a mistake. And that's something that I think a lot of his teammates can learn from. I think too many of our players, they're a bit too emotional in a way. It's like every little thing they have to like have a reaction, an outward reaction. Sometimes you have to be able to keep emotions inside. And I think he did a good job of that. But yeah, Romain Borrell, we're going to talk about him some more. As I said, he's a part of my analysis tonight. But let me not ruin any of what I have to say later. Let me just continue. We're almost through with the press conference here. I think McLaren is now going to play the role of Richard King's agent, I think. So let's listen.
Exactly fighting for him and gave exactly what we expected.
So just to talk about it, like obviously this guy is really well for.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a lot of people on the ground. A lot of names have been mentioned, and we just
big up Mr. Porter, big up Marlon.
On Y-Scout, followed him from half the season on, and he kept scoring goals.
Big up JD too. And I love fighting, but he must scout too.
And he can run, and he's a pest. He'll run behind.
And everybody else who made a name and know
I
himself.
liked his discipline as well, in terms of his shape. So, what a great night for him and his family.
Is there another level he could go to in
Burrell.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's up to him and that's up to other people.
They want to see if Borrell can play at a higher level.
I think what we sometimes do in football is look at the instant and don't look at the late developers. And we've looked at quite a few of them late developers playing in the Championship, First Division, Second Division even. Not so much the Premier League because we know the quality, but it's up to him. And what you get tested. So he's coming to Burton, he's been thrown in there, and he's had a great season and scored 11 goals, I think. And now he's made his debut here, so that has put him in a high profile. Now, can he step up? And what players tend to do, it's like Richard King, who's got a lot of attention in Europe, in the UK. And I've been saying, banging the drum forever, I say that boy can step up to whatever level he's put in. At the moment, he needs to get off the island and he needs to play in a better competition. But I think, and I've included in the last two games, he was excellent against the US when he came on. So, and I've told every scout in England that they need to take Richard King, because he might not be now, but he will be, because that boy's got everything. He's got everything, and he plays to the level that he's in. So if he jumps up and plays in the UK and more intensity, First Division, Championship, in time he will adapt to that. So Richard King, he needs time, but I would, if I was at a football club, I would take him, because I think he can be a real asset in terms of he can defend, he's quick, when he wants to be, he can play to the level, whatever. And I just hope that someone takes a chance on him.
Members of the media, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it, and see you on Saturday.
All right, so that was the press conference post-match. So, really only touched on a couple individual players. Talked about Borrell, which I talked about at the end of it there. He was talking about Richard King, says that from what he's observed of him, he seems to play to the level of the competition. So if you put him in a really difficult situation, he holds his own there. He might play down to opponents that he should be playing better than, is what it sounds like he was saying there. So let's see. I think Nigeria, from what I saw today, is going to be a little bit of a step up from what we faced against Trinidad. So let's see if what McLaren said holds true when we face Nigeria in the game on Saturday. I don't think he'll be changing the back line in terms of the centre-back pairing for sure. So we'll see. We'll see how Holgate and King do against Nigeria compared to what they were able to do against Trinidad. Let me just look at the comment section real quick. We're having an interesting convo about CFAS. I think Rob Smith is saying here, I don't have the same issues most have with CFAS. The position CFAS getting, Demi and Bailey not getting into. Well, I think they probably get into the situation, the positions in different ways, right? So I think CFAS will get into that position from a ball played in front of him that he's running into. I think Bailey and Demi might be more of a combination to get to that area, or just them dribbling and beating people 1v1. If you notice, CFAS doesn't really necessarily dribble past people that much. I mean, typically when he gets opportunities, it's a ball played over to him. Now he did create the penalty with his footwork, which is a definite plus. But I actually think that when I compare CFAS that I saw against Dominica last summer, at the start of the summer, compared to what I saw last night or yesterday, I do see some improvement. Now, I didn't think overnight he was just going to become, like Bukayo Saka, where it's literally he makes the right choice between passing and shooting like perfectly every time. I don't think anybody would have expected that. But I feel like, I think at this point, fans that it depends what you want to highlight. So if you want to just talk about decision making, I don't think CFA starts for Jamaica. But we can't just make the conversation only about the decision making. I just feel like there's maybe a specific opponent or type of opponent that CFAS makes sense against. I also feel like if we have a midfield similar to what we had yesterday in terms of 3 competent ball handlers, where it gives us the variation in our attack. So if you noticed, I counted at least 5 attacks before we played the first long pass over the top. And because we had 5 attacks where we build through the midfield, that long ball to CFAS worked because the defense is now pushing up to try and close down our midfield. And I think too often for Jamaica, what happens is we know we have speed in behind, so we just say, okay, we need to go direct every time. But that direct ball will work so much better if you have varied that direct long ball with some passing into midfield, some circulation of the ball, some switching of the play, and then you do that direct pass. And I think that's why our direct long passes in the last game yesterday were way more effective than what we've seen in the past. That had a lot to do with the fact that the midfield was rotating and keeping possession of the ball, and we're also sometimes going from defensive third to middle third to attacking third, something that we don't necessarily see from Jamaican teams all the time. So variation of the play helped out a lot. When we went long, they were more effective. So look, I think there's pros and cons to a lot of our wingers, and I think I think the good thing for the coach right now is, depending on what the game requires in terms of us being the better team, a team that we're playing against an opponent that's better than us, it's an even game. I think we have different pieces and different ways we can go about it now because we have a slightly deeper pool of players to choose from. I actually don't think he's selfish. I've seen him make crosses that went begging. I don't know if he's completely selfish. I just feel like his awareness in attack needs to get better. That's the only thing. And we're gonna see it on some replays that we're about to watch. Coach wasn't watching the same game as me when it comes to King. Good player, but got to learn to defend better. Yeah, I think him and Holgate were guilty at times, but I would say he was a little bit more guilty. I think with him, the main issue that I see, his default mechanism when defending is to just retreat. And that's not always the best move as a defender. That's like his default thing. Get closer to his keeper. That's something that I noticed with him in the game yesterday. Shooting and composure when he's double teamed. Yeah, composure is a big word for Cephas, you know. If we have a capable, dangerous striker in the box, get in the box, draw defenders, but unselfish and could shoot or lay off, that creates confusion, chaos, kissing for opposition. Yeah. Bless up, Oran Wagwan. Big up yourself. Hope all is well. In my opinion, we have the pieces to be a dangerous team. Forget Greenwood and he gels with the guys. Ah, yeah, Greenwood. Whew. I'm trying not to say his name too much, you know. Just want like a Borrell situation. We're not even thinking, and the player just did it. King can play on another level. I agree. I respect your reason and humility. We win the game, and someone still try to claim to be coach on his channel. Some people really think football easy. Yeah, bro. I mean, look, it's football is a thing where you have to. It's real easy in the moment to go nuts, to go crazy, and that's why. Like I typically don't do post matches. Even yesterday, I think I did too much because I did like a in the moment player ratings. But you know, it is what it is. I just felt like doing the player ratings at the time. I did have some good vibes. But yeah, I think this will be a much better show in terms of analyzing the game because I've watched the game again without the emotions of we need to win and cussing play. I just watched the game from an analytical perspective, took my little notes, and yeah, I think I'll have a much more clear analysis of what happened now to be able to tell you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know much about football, but if you are good at it, that is enough to be noticed and sold. What is the hard sell? Yeah, look, there's so many things that I've heard in regards to Richard King and to why he's still in the JPL right now. I've heard everything from visa issues to the offer wasn't good enough, to the player didn't really want that particular situation. I've heard so many different things, you know. And to be honest, I feel like the main reason is just that there are things in his game that need work. You know, I think that's one of the main things. And we'll see. I think he has improved though from like one time. I think if you look at how he played in the first go around when he was called up, I think the first game was like his best game against Costa Rica. I know that that's a game that everybody that's a King supporter brings up. They say that he had a higher rating than Pinnock in the game. But I think people then automatically forget what happened right there after that. You know, he had poor games against Canada, Honduras, I think El Salvador as well, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, not to call out the young man, but I'm just saying we have a tendency to like just omit the reasons that could make sense as to why he didn't move at certain times. You know what I'm saying? And it can't be understated either that, you know, maybe it will help out that McLaren is indeed an English coach, because the last coach we had was from Iceland, and that's where Busy and Richard King ended up. So if there's anything to go by there, Richard King should be somewhere in England, no matter what league, come August, you know, when the season rolls back around. I hate the argument regarding Cephas. Every player has their own unique style of play, and sometimes trying to change someone too much can also hinder the greatness that he has. That's true, Charles Brammer. If you take out the natural instinct of the player that makes him dangerous, then you know you don't want to take that out of his game. I just feel like he just needs a little bit more, just a little bit more time to refine what he's got going on. Because I saw an improvement from the Dominica series like a year ago to what I just saw. I even saw a little improvement from the last time we saw him against St. Vincent in terms of, you know, at least linking up every now and again with other players. You know, some will argue that he never passed. I think they want to highlight the parts that he didn't pass, but he did pass the ball in the game. It was clear. He had a brilliant move when we played like 4 one-touch passes and it came to him and he flicked it around to Casey Palmer, I believe it was, and then we got the attack going. I mean, he wasn't doing things like that before. I don't think Demian Bailey have been as direct as Cephas. Collapsing the defense, he does. Not saying he's a better player, but he's doing things we need at times. He can change games. Yeah, look, Rob, that's why I say I think it's like a specific opponent that Cephas, what he brings is very important. Look, I think a team like Trinidad that like to possess the ball, like to get numbers around the ball when they attack, Cephas is a good player to play against them, because when we win the ball from them and we transition quickly, he's always going to have good numbers on the counter. We saw that for a few of our chances. When we turn them over in midfield, you know, Cephas is a more dangerous outlet than even a Damari Gray, you know, in terms of running in behind. Now, Dimi might get the ball at 2 feet, and the decision he makes based on the movement and everything is a better decision. But sometimes he eliminates the decision making because Cephas just get the ball running behind and he's on goal, you know. And a couple of times he was in on goal, and if his decision making is better, we get another goal. So that is the frustration with Cephas. Yes, he's getting into more dangerous areas, but what is he doing with it when he gets into those areas? That's the frustration. Cephas reduces our choice of tactics on the field. It's a better team, he will be out of the game. If it's a better team, he will be out of the game. Yeah, and we have seen that in the past, and people don't want to admit it. You know, when he plays against the better teams, he's not as effective, you know, because as I said, that kick and run ball, it don't really work all the time. You have to be able to play the football in close quarters to open up that long direct pass. Bless up Africans. Sorry for your loss, like somebody died, but sorry for the loss earlier. Ghana played a much better second half. They deserved something, I think, based on the runner play. Not true. He was amazing against USA in that game. We almost beat them. You're talking about the game where they equalized late. Yeah, he could have put the game away a couple times. I wouldn't say he was amazing, but he had. I think the thing with Cephas that we have to, no matter what side you are on, like what type of player he is, if he plays 90 minutes, there's going to be 2 times in a game that he gets in behind and causes trouble. Now, what he does with it is another story, but it will happen once or twice a game, for sure. Cephas should only be played in the right circumstances, says Dallas. Rob Smith, from that Dallas game, I was impressed with Cephas. I realized that he needed to fix some things, but I saw something in the guy. Yeah, look, there's something there. I mean, it's speed. You know, we don't have to go around it. He has incredible speed. But what I think I liked yesterday was a couple of things. I thought he linked up more with his teammates than I've seen in the past. And also, the timing on his runs has gotten better. He's not just running full speed and going offside. I don't even remember him being offside yesterday once, which to me is an improvement. Being on a hard sell is nothing new in football. This thing about if you're good enough, you will be sold is nonsense. I mean, I know politics play a part too, but most of the time, like the immense talents, they will rise above politics, you know, that most of the time. Composure. Yeah, I think that's a key word for him. Remember Markel Fultz with the Magic? They tried to change his shooting form. It impacted the player mental, in my opinion. Yeah. Fultz is a situation need to be studied, bro. He was so good in college and the man was just done. He reminded me of Ricardo Fuller. Who reminded me of Ricardo Fuller? Roman Borrell or Cephas? Let me know, Oran. Bless up DJ Gigs. CC said, we see a whole heap of players playing in League One and Championship that need improvement on their game. But guess what? People will take a chance on a local who doesn't need a work permit versus another. All right. I see what your point is there. But again, I think all right, you know how I've heard the argument when people saying if I have 2 players fighting for the Jamaica spot, right? I am going to take the local player because this guy is not more than 5% better. I don't know how they measure this percent better thing. But anyway, I've heard this argument where if the players are close, you should go with the local. So basically you're saying that's what they do in these countries with the players. You know, if they have a situation that's close, then, you know. But I feel like with the way some of our people talk about King, they would, you know, he's better than even League One and Champion. Well, not that Championship, but I've heard people say League One is bigger than and things like that, and I'm like, damn, that's interesting, you know. Bless up J. Ross Wagwan. That's the most balanced take on Cephas I've heard all day. Yeah, I don't know why, like Jamaica fans, is all or nothing with players, like. Yo, it's like no middle ground with none of them players here, brother. Listen, Adama can build a career in the Prep, Cephas can play at a level. Yeah, Rob Smith, that's a point, you know, because Adama makes mad decisions from time to time, but it works out every now and again, you know. And I think that's why he plays so inconsistently for his club. You know, he don't really start every game. he might get a 4-game run where he start and then you see him off the bench. And I think that just comes down to like him have a skill set that the coach know can work. But you're not going to always get the best out of him. Jairus, who do you think a club rather have to give a contract? A player that is good, who needs a permit, or an average player who doesn't need a permit? They're going to go with the good. Them man no full up them team with a bag of average player though, CC. Come on. It better you say if the two of them good. You know? I don't think them going to go for the worst player just because I don't know permit needed thing. You think the permit thing is like a big issue for these clubs? Where's the Leon? I'm not worried. It's fair to say Cephas has played well the last few games with the boys. Got to continue with the hot hand right now. I think the only thing that takes him out of the game is Independence Park. Yeah, I think that's a lot of our players, to be honest. They got something the 19-year-olds and Brendan Asante showed they could get some looks later. I'm thrilled. I have to listen to Nigerians talk. Yo, so the Nigerian them now gonna stop talking. But are you always a bad man, Nigeria African? So you bring it on yourself. You know, Cephas win about 6 penalties for Jamaica. That's impressive. That's supposed to be a record. A 6 penalty the man win, bro. Come on, let's be honest. It's 6 penalties for real. Him win 2 in another game there. Which other game the man win penalty in like that? Was it he won the penalty in the Dominica game? We won 3-2 over there. I think Boza scored that one. No, it was Dixon actually did that, you know. Oh, in the Nations League semi, wasn't Cephas who tried to keep ball in that cause the last second corner in Nations League semi. Oh, you're saying he conceded the corner that Corey Burke scored the whole goal from? Ooh, I don't remember in the Dallas. I'm not remembering exactly how we conceded that corner. Nuance is what missing in Jamaica football discourse. No one is saying Cephas is useless, but we have to criticize what we're seeing. Yeah, I think Jairus, that's what it becomes, you know. Like, everybody wants to defend their players. So the minute you speak frankly about a player, you know, because let's be honest, people. None of Jamaica's players are like perfect. None of the players we have are perfect players. So just because we get to your player now and we highlight what he did well, and then we talk about some things he can work on, once we get to the work on part, people are like, yo, you're bad mind and Ray and play. And then that just happens throughout the whole team because everybody have a favorite player, you know? So I think the convo needs to be, as you say, more nuanced. I think Cephas has more than just speed. Yeah, I think he has a bit of foot skill as well. You can see like the little footwork he used to get the first penalty. I think that's something that he has learned over in Turkey because it used to be every touch was like far away from him. I think he has picked up and developed a bit of a closer control dribble that he didn't have before. So I've seen that added to his game, definitely. Jason Gooner in the domestic league, foreign players have to be better than domestic players. Otherwise, they won't get a contract. In a domestic league, foreign players have to be better than domestic players. Otherwise, they won't get a contract. I mean, yeah, if you're going to be recruiting players into your league, you would want them to be better than what's there, because or else you wouldn't recruit them in the first place. So yeah, I don't think this statement is like this, you know, watershed moment. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, no? Since of what is said is way past. Oh, some of what is said is way past critique. Okay. Yeah, I mean, people do, but you know, I guess that's just how we talk sometimes. You know, we talk rough. Ronaldo. Now I get why some people think that King is good, because it's a sell King campaign based on what the coach said in the press conference proves it to me. Yeah, I mean, look, DJ Giggs, at this point, I want him to get sold, because I think he just needs to get sold. We need to see him in a different level, you know. I don't think going back to the JPL is going to do anything for him at this point. You Jamaicans love to overhype players when them not reach full potential. Then when them fail turn upon the players, typical Jamaican fans. They said they want to build him up for kill him. It's a Maggie thing. I get that, but if a man is involved in all 3 games, he shouldn't be the most criticized player. Or all 3 goals, I think he was saying there. His deficiencies are obvious, but that's all most people harp on. We say, if you matter about Jamaicans and he is Jamaican, well, maybe he's not happy with himself. I don't know. Bless up, Mark. Or go on. There, you know. I don't know where you guys getting that because Green and the keeper got it bad yesterday. This morning, I hear man I say Cephas is the most criticized. Yeah, I didn't really see this heavy Cephas criticism. I think what it is, you know, when Cephas does well now, it's like Demar Gray not even in the Unity Cup team, but people are talking about. Today I hear people saying, well, when Demar Gray come back, you started him over Cephas. It's like, and if you say no to that, yo, what? And it's like, bro, why are we even creating this Cephas Gray thing? Like, the man not even play the next game against Nigeria yet. Let's just, a next game then if you play in a boss. Relax, no man. Where I said you don't remember 6, but it's a few. Yeah, I think he did create the penalty for in the Dominica game too that we got. Or maybe it was Kaim Dixon get fouled then. It was Dixon, I think, you know. I don't go much places anymore, but I see it on the ground. He's strong as hell too. Yeah, he is strong for sure. Good center of gravity. CC Sports is not about leaving me out. It's the facts. So I do the same thing to Maggie. Yeah, it's crazy. I said Maggie. If you give the players time to develop, I get your point, and it's true. I'm just waiting for them to do it to Ravel. Bless up, Chile. What going? What's wrong with a Cell King campaign? I mean, is there something wrong with trying to get King sold? Like at this point? I mean, it's clear that the coach like him, the JFF, well, not the JFF, but Jamaican fans in general think highly of him. You know, I don't even think King is the type of player that's split between the diaspora fans and the local fans either. I think even diaspora fans like King, you know. So at this point, I think we just know that we want him to be sold. You know, so I mean, it is what it is. If the coach talking like that in the press conference helps, then great. Has anyone asked coach about DJ? No, I actually haven't asked him about DJ. No. I think we're gonna see, and good luck to DJ tomorrow. I'm sure he's probably getting his rest right now, but good luck to him in the final, playoff final. Hope him makes it through, and Andre Gray as well. Had a good season. The team probably, you know, based on form, they are the better team in the league who they're playing tomorrow. So hopefully the form holds true and they can beat them. But yeah, I haven't asked about DJ, but I will because his omission is a glaring one. I like Cephas, agree. He should be on the team, but need the right game plan. He leaves us hanging when the tactics calls for more than what he's good at. Fans talk about him as he's a sure starter. Yeah, but I think Dallas, you have to keep in mind, you know, our fan base in general is more about the energy, the speed. That's what we resonate to a lot more. So you know, I've seen players come off the bench for Jamaica in games and they say, oh, this guy made such an impact. And when you watch the game back, literally the man just kicked down a few people. He took a long shot and he ran. He just ran up and down. You know, what did he really do? Like football wise, he didn't do anything. But we see those things more. We don't see cerebral things in the football. I've noticed that. Like none of our fans really talk about the most cerebral things, you know. That's just not how we see the game for the most part. We're looking at most of the time the final actions, right? And you know, we don't tend to speak on the situations that arise that are effed up by the person we're talking about. You know, we just talk about when him get on the end or something, and we're like, yo, you saw that speed. Yeah, but like there were like 10 other entries that he did some foolishness. Why would not? And then when you bring those things up, they say you're bad man, or why I hate on the player. You know what I'm saying? But I can congratulate and I can say, yo, you could have done better there. That's the difference with me. Artificial division. I don't see Sifa starting the next game against Nigeria. The speed won't be the deciding factor. All right. So Brahma and Dallas pretty much saying it's a tactical situation with Cephas, not necessarily every time Cephas, every time. To CC point, there's a lot of rules to force countries to focus on local development. Example, France, no matter the level of the transfer fee, have to be minimum 450. Okay. People don't understand there's going to be a point when Cephas got to be selfish, when him for pass, to win the game, so that we are run from. Now say him not good, just not want it by in the end. I think we should bench Demi several moons ago. He hasn't been great in a while, in my opinion. Okay, I had one. Shares her thoughts on that. Charles, I think he had more than speed, to be fair. I saw him turn the US defenders multiple times in Nations League. If his finishing was on point at the time, we would have beaten them. Jeremy Lee, up full enough. So CC said him overhype players as well, just different ones him overhype. All right. Yes, DJ in this team. Imagine, because to me, and we're gonna talk about this in the analysis after I run these clips. To me, there was a definite need to switch up the midfield. But I think we didn't have the choices on the bench that would continue with that slick kind of style we're playing in midfield. So he didn't really change up too much. And I think that might hurt us in the game against Nigeria, which I'll talk about. Our fan base and society on a whole thing like overgrown children, it's always the shiny new thing. Yeah. The latest. If DJ is playing the Turkish top division next year, conversation will have to be had. Boy, I don't even know, but why I don't think even if they don't make it, even if they play in the same league next year, this conversation needs to be had as well. Jamaica game is different to Spain, France, Argentina, Italy. We have to play to our advantages and strengths. That is true. We have a different skill set, but she say the midfield I get Europeanized, brother. Say we are not ball yesterday. You see, when you watch over the game, you see more things you miss, and you realize sometimes it's poor when you look over it. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, pure energy. We resonate to that. The coach will decide how to best utilize the assets. That is true, MF. I mean, none of we know really the coach. I have thoughts of a coach because I analyze the game, but I'm not telling the coach what to do. He can listen to me or not listen to me. I'm just giving my take on it. I honestly think Is Gray or Bailey was that direct. Like Cephas, with their heads down, they would get the same penalties. J. Ross will never produce a Xavi or Iniesta, so that is your hope. Get that out of your head. Come on, CC. You are one of the most optimistic people about Jamaica I know. So why you just automatically rule out we can produce a player like that? I can't forget when Damari Gray just come, him hot like pot. Now him just water down and I just feel away him play. Or he just feel away when him play. With all due respect, the conversation is always if this, if that. At some point you are not. And if you are what you are. Great point, Africans. How long will a player, if his finishing was better, if his decision making was better, we said that about Iwobi for a long time, and I think his decision making got better now. So I guess there's anomalies every now and again, but you're right. For the most part, you are what you say you are and what you show us you are. What is the latest on Whisper? I think Whisper has the longest knee rehab in the history of knee rehabs at this point. No, but to be honest, based on reports out of Chelsea, he was back on the grass like late Aprilish, and probably if he was fighting to come back to play a Champions League final, maybe he would have been playing already. But they just decided, look, let's just have a full summer to recover, and then preseason you're back up and running again. So I think he should be good to go during the preseason, but not ready for Jamaica as yet, for sure. So if we find one in the diaspora, what should we do? Ignore him? So since we can't produce it, maybe we can't find it. Right now, I'm afraid of what Brazil might become under Carlo Ancelotti and Italian. I'm biting my nails. You rate Italy too much, CC. People can improve, Africans. They can. Blessings, Jason and chat. But improvement is one thing, but if the traits are what you are, then I don't think your traits will change, you know. J. Ross, England, I look for one for over 100 years now and cannot find. So where we gonna get him from? Adam Wharton, a baller still, you know. I don't know if he'll be Xavi or Pirlo, but he's very good. And of course, never even pick him. All right, so let's get this on screen, people. We're gonna show the highlights. We're not even business, but nobody can cost me, man. We're gonna show the highlights on the screen. So let's see them. I know on the bracket here, I know on the screen there it's showing Dixon in the middle, Burrell on the right, but that wasn't like that. And also, Trinidad didn't really play a 3-4-3. They played a back four. Raymond was the left back, Jones right back, Jack and Peter central. So it's a little bit different than the graphic. That was the original play, but you see, after that, first kick by King, we never got long again until King went over the top and found Cephas. So like it was just good football being played by us for the most part. Here's a nice little passage of play here. A lot of different people touching the ball. Dixon, good run down the line by Russell early. Just didn't quite get the power on the cross. But this is what I liked about Jamaica in the first half. You see that secondary press there to recover the ball quickly. We did that really well in the first half. Attempted Trivella pass there, but I like the spacing. Dixon seeing the space and attacking it. And early in the game, I thought our defensive shape was excellent off the ball. This was the first time we saw Palmer. I was saying, I think on a stream before the game, I was saying the one thing I don't love about Palmer in CONCACAF is I never see him driving from deeper with the football. He's always trying to play the passes forward, which is fine. But sometimes it just calls for you to just put your head down and drive. And that was a good sign early in the game to see him doing that. Cephas drawing a foul early and Jones turning him around. That was a little later in the game. He could have got a yellow for that. It's a bit out of control with that lunge. Cephas kind of miscontrolled that, but that's what I'm talking about there. You see that little touch away from the defender? That's something I think he's picked up because he did that a few times in the game drawing fouls. I don't think this was the best set piece. I think it hit the wall, if I'm not mistaken. So here's the free kick off the wall. This is the first really clear opportunity here. It's Burrell occupying the wide run. And I love that movement from Dixon there. He wants this one back, people. At first, I thought he would have done better opening up his body going with his right foot, but I don't even think the technique was the wrong one to use. The execution was just poor. But I love this. So Burrell vacates the central space. Dixon doesn't even hesitate. Now, if Dixon was really an IQ of 1,000, he would have just run past the ball and it would have rolled right to Casey Palmer to finish. But I'm not going to kill him for trying to finish. Just got it all wrong. And again, we see Russell being an option. Good 1-2. Good turn by Dixon. And he was fouled from behind. But that was a staple of the first 10 minutes. Dixon, Burrell, and Russell kind of working together on this right hand inside right channel, creating some opportunities. And that was one thing I liked about the start of the game. Too often for Jamaica, it's like we fall in love with one side of the field. And I thought we were very balanced in our approach in the first half, especially. We saw both sides getting into the game. Dixon, Cephas, You know, the midfielders overloading each side. So I like the variation of the play a lot more in this game. This was a very good free kick by Casey Palmer. Just didn't start it close enough to post. Good power. And the keeper would have been beaten there for sure. Keeper would have been beaten there for sure. I know, I couldn't believe it. It's also what I'm saying. They can't. Yeah. Corner. Ooh. King was lining up the volley. All right, this is a brilliant play now. Watch this. Bell, central, Cephas, good ball, good one time, good run by Burrell. John, if you look at this play again, I think Russell, if you look at Russell when he opened up the game here. So right here, you see Cephas wanting the ball, right? But honestly, on this play, this is a part of the things that I was saying that Cephas improved. Look at this. Now, Cephas could have run into that space and run into people, you know. But him see the overload on the other side. Play a good diagonal ball. Dixon does well. Now, Russell could have slipped him in, but he faked him out. And Morel didn't really stay on side, so he couldn't slip the pass through to him after. But I think if Russell could have this back, he would side foot this to the post, to the keeper's right, instead of trying to wrap his instep around it. But that was good football by Jamaica. I love the one-touch pass by Dixon. This is the first long ball over the top. Why he doesn't Cephas cross the ball, I will never know. I will never know. I mean, it was a good strike on target, but it just was the wrong decision. He doesn't see Dixon, he don't see Dixon, he don't see Dixon, he don't see Dixon. Please. Why the man never cross the ball? But again, look at how much space is in behind because we haven't done that all game yet. That I hope that the video analyst showed that to the team. Like it's the 17th minute, and that's the first time we have gone direct over the top. And I want to feel like that's why it worked because we had built up so many times before then. They're not even ready for that play. I think the only new players I know of is Janira Johnson, the young kid from Ajax, Tyrese Hall, supposed to be joining up, Lewis Baker as well. Who else? Malik Mothersill, Tyrese Campbell from Charlton. I don't know how interested the Tyrese Campbell from Sheffield is, but I would try to get him over the line as well. I think he can add some value to us as well. Yeah. Palmer always get tired in the 60 minutes and stop run and marking players. A poor marking cause 2 goals. If you say them are top players, them love ball watch and now mark them player. Yes, I think that we have a lot of players in our teams that in our team that I would say are 60-minute ballers tops. You know, there was a player that I was really liking his improved stamina in the game. But a lot of the players, you know, they literally give you their best for 60 minutes. Big up Bravo. Oh, he's not playing for us? Jano. Neither is Tyrese. What? So how them name get pan list? Bless up Cranky. Dixon IQ is underrated, makes very smart runs. Yeah, man. I think Dixon, brother, if Dixon had the strength of Cephas, man, G's and P's, there would be a player. I want to give Cephas Dixon brain for football and gives Dixon Cephas strength. We have a top player. What the purpose of the guy laying on the ground when they are doing the free kick? If the wall jumps and they kick it under the wall, that's why voice wave. It's harder for him to get the cross right. He doesn't have all the fundamentals down, so he chose to shoot. That's why he did it. Wow. Go by what JF was supposed I saw them publish 7 players. Yeah, I don't know about this article thing. Bravo, put the article in the chat now. I may put it on the screen. Good luck working with what the JFF gives you. Champions of Europe, you'll never sing that. Hey boy, son. Going on, man. This is maybe because our players not playing week in, week out for it. Actually, that has a lot to do with it for sure. You are, you can't never drive your car across country and expect it to go across country and back without several tune-up. But yeah, this right here, I don't know how I'm not cross the ball to the backside, man. Just put the ball across the box, bro. This was the first goal for the first time Cephas gets down the right left. I was wanting him to play the cutback, but he went alone and he got fouled. It's a penalty. I don't think I know he looks upset there, but he can't have any complaints. Left his foot in. No, I've not done any such thing. I did congratulate them in real time earlier. I was on JD show and they had just won, and I said congrats, and that's all you're gonna get. Congratulations for the conference league. You have the choice to play Europa or Champions League, and I suggest you guys play Europa League if you don't want to win the next cup next year in Europe. I know we're going to choose Champions League because of force right, but that team ain't winning no damn Champions League. So I better on to play Europa and try to win the next one, And I have the choice, so to make the right choice. You don't think the cross would have worked? Why not? Look, if he was able to get his foot to that cross, right? I have to go back to it. Me feel like the man could have crossed the damn ball. Watch this. So why the man can't cross it? Why just cross it? Look, if he could wrap his foot around that to shoot, he can side foot it like run over the man foot with some curl into this area. Like him can't get the ball right here, so I had one. Why him can't get the ball right here? You see where my cursor there? Why him can't get the ball right there, so? Make him run onto it and score. Seriously. This is what I was talking about earlier when we turned them over in midfield. Why Cephas? Look where Cephas' starting position is. Look where we win the ball. So look where you see where Cephas is now. Cephas is in a decent defensive shape. Looking at Alvin Jones on that right side. They make a bad touch in midfield. Their other two midfielders are square right here. Now Russell really makes the goal as well as Cephas, because Russell could easily get the ball here and knock it back to Casey Palmer right there. But he decides to get it and drive. When he drives now, look at Cephas. He's gone left Jones, forced the centre back out, and they're unbalanced and it's a foul. And then of course, Cephas with the footwork there, clear foul. You can see a better angle now. This is what I meant earlier too with the better close dribbling. I don't think he does this move 2 years ago. And of course, Casey Palmer stepped up to the spot. The London boy himself. And very nice execution on the Panenka. I would never be going for no Panenka, but hey, you have the balls to do it. Don't think cross would work. Yeah, I don't agree there. I had one. Sorry. No, he shot because he didn't see the first pass and the defender came over to skew his view afterwards. Reed back on the bench again. Wasn't the word. Yeah, man, he's born in Jamaica, man. I think he stayed till he was about 8 or something like that. We could have cut him with a fake shot and pass same way or even shoot after him do that. Whether that ball need to be cut back to the area, man. He ain't gonna beat the keeper from that angle. True, now let's see if I should take a heavy touch past the defender. Yeah, he would have tried to go beat him down the sideline. I mean, there's no way he would have cut and tried to split them people about 2 years ago. I promise you. I mean, look, MF, I'm only basing it off like I've never played international football at this level, but I just feel like I would give him the benefit if he had showed me that his awareness is up there in the box and other plays. I'm going to see other plays here where it's like a criminal case that he never passed the ball. You know, I don't think that one is as criminal, but again, those are the little things about his awareness that I talk about. He didn't. I don't think even up to now, I don't think him sick of it making the run. And that's what I mean about awareness. All right, this play right here is an impressive CFAS play because it required some skill and technique. It's one touch flick, very nice. Now Palmer, look at CFAS again in acres, good release. And I don't know, Burrell, if you look, there's a split second about here that Burrell kind of thinks that Cephas ain't gonna pass the ball, and that was a difference in him getting on the end of this or not. Because I hear people saying there was a poor pass by Cephas. I actually disagree. I don't think a pass necessarily has to arrive at its intended target for it to not be poor. You can still say it was put into a very good area and a dangerous area, and that's what I think this is. And I think for a split second right here before he lets go the ball. Yeah, let me see if I can go slow. I think I should be able to. All right, so again, I've slowed it down slightly, people. But there's a split second here where you'll see him kind of get on his heels right there, literally right before he released the ball. If you look again, people, watch this. Right now, his momentum is all forward, ready to burst. But right before, look at that. You see that? He kills his momentum. Now, part of that could have been he's thinking if I keep my momentum going, I might stray offside. But the thing is, he's stride for stride with this defender right here. So that's the difference sometimes between getting on the end of a cross and not getting on the end. You know, if he just never had that little half step on his heels, I think, you see right there, he's not expecting to move. And then by the time he realizes the ball is played, it's already about to get by him. But I don't hate that pass by Cephas. I just feel like the attacker needed to just believe in that ball getting there a little bit more on that occasion. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Why Hall and Johnson won't play for Jamaica? Which article stated that? Yeah, I think Bravo was it. Hall was supposed to be at the Unity Cup. If he's not here for the friendlies, why would he come for the Gold Cup? True. I understand your point, Jason. He could have made another choice, but I'm not mad at him for taking that shot. He was on frame, and the keeper could have made an error. Yeah, MF, but at that point, you have to play the percentages, right? Like, yeah, you have to take into account the higher percentage play. So if I am at an area to the left of goal, in line or closer to the goal line than the 6-yard box where it curves back towards the goal line, you know, what are the chances on my weaker foot of scoring from there? What are the chances of getting it to the far post that would increase the chances of a rebound bouncing to someone else? You know, those are very slim. And look, I'm not beating him for taking the shot. I'm just saying, like, he had a better option, and it's okay to tell him that he had a better option. That's okay. See if us get too much tunnel vision. No, Burrell didn't take off. Looks like hesitation. Yeah, look, in real time when the game was on, I was thinking it was more about him trying to stay on side. But then when I watched the game back and I was analyzing, and I couldn't wait to see this play happen, because I remember my take in real time. After watching it, I didn't agree with it as much because I was kind of cussing Cephas for that pass more than anything. And then when I watched it back, I say, you know what? I can't really blame Cephas there, you know, because he has to put it at least enough close to the keeper that the defender ain't gonna cut it out, and he has to put it far enough from the keeper that he can't cut it out, which he did. So in watching it back, I think that half step of him going on his heels just took his momentum of him being able to reach that ball. Our midfield is challenged defensively, very much so. And I think honestly that was down to time of game. So I thought the midfield looked fine defensively for the first 30 minutes, and then something happened once they tired towards the end of the first half. Those gaps that they were closing in the beginning were much wider, and also that second effort run back wasn't there. So those two things were causing problems for us. And that pass he ran like he didn't think the pass. Exactly. And a part of that is, playing with the player for the first 25 minutes. You're like, I'm probably going to cut this back. Johnson is about to break into the Ajax first team. Him playing for Jamaica could interfere with that. Really? That's sad. Selfish Cephas made that cry. MF won't let it go. Cephas should have put some curl on. Lee Young. I was waiting for someone in the chat to say that. If you notice, when I was doing the last one, I had done my cursor like this with a little curve. This could have do with some curve too, but I think when the ball is running away from you like that, it's not the easiest thing to curl it with your weaker foot. Cazorla can curl it with his weaker foot. I'm not on a weaker foot. But when the ball is running in that direction, he would have been better off trying to outside of the foot curl it with his right foot. It's hard to curl a ball like that. That's kind of what happened to Dixon on the first play. He might try to curl it with him left foot, but the angle the ball is coming at him from, it's hard to do that. Could it be Burrell being mindful of not being offside? Yes, I thought it was that at first, but then when you really analyze the defensive position, he's looking at him. So he should see that, like, all right, he's running back at the same pace as me, so I don't need to stop. He either didn't think Cephas would pass, or I'm feeling. No, I just think right in the moment when Cephas passed the ball, he had one, negative step. Like, he never really, go forward as much. Sheridan, respect for the super chat, bro. He said, with all the excuses and comparisons I have heard, football intelligence education sets the diaspora players apart. The coach said it. Yeah, the coach said it. The people didn't like it so much. Or actually, the people were upset when people basically said what he said, not the words he used, but said the same thing, and people were upset. So yeah, it's I've said this a lot of times. Like, we don't really, we can't handle the truth sometimes, no matter what it is. And that goes both ways for players that, because obviously the biggest thing always is local diaspora. That's like the biggest thing. So I've always said this, like, there's defenders of the locals and defenders of the diaspora. But the problem is, on both sides, people can't tell the truth about their players or their so-called players, right? As a striker, you always got to attack that pass, even if shoots or rebound, it can be available. True. Burrell could have run harder for it, but that will come better. That is true, Bravo. That is true. Let him learn the players a little more. But as a striker there, man, trust me, I'll always be overly critical of strikers, as that was my position. So I kind of studied the position there a different way. Man, them will make all excuses used for certain players, regardless of what they say on the field. Bash who them not like, praise who them rate. Yeah, it's a true thing, Joseph. People bash who them want bash. Should we focus on winning the final or look at some more player? Good question, Energy 876. I mean, if you're being honest with yourself, Energy, like, I think the coach is going to probably put his best team out there, to be honest. I don't think he'll be thinking so much about making sure players get chances. And the reason why I said that, I think if he felt that way, we would have seen Brandon Cover playing. We would have seen Kyle Ming get a game. We would have seen a few other players play. But I didn't see him do that. So, yeah. I think he mentioned the FIFA points as well. So that will be something we'll be thinking about. Nigeria is ranked higher than we are in football. So, we can get some good FIFA points if we can win this friendly. Look at more players like Cover and Atkinson and Mings. Yeah, we'll see. Does McLaren really give Cover a fair shot? If he don't play the next game, it proves him. Colin Cover was to shut people up who wanted the kid to get a chance. Yeah, I was surprised he didn't come on, especially due to the fact that I think both left and right back ran out of gas in the second half. You can imagine if Cephas fixed him selfishness and him decision making, we could score so much goals. I want to see Warner Brown and Busy. Can someone confirm that Warner Brown is there? Yeah, the speculation. I've heard quite a few things in the background, none of which I wish to bring to the light of day just yet. Like Laura Tracy this morning saying he's not impressed with Casey Palmer because Trinidad is not good opposition. Yeah, man. In Jamaica, it is not allowed to change your opinion on things, especially the traditional Jamaican media. Somebody like Oral Tracy, if it's already out there that will never rate a player, that player would have to win the Ballon d'Or first before him say, "Oh, I was wrong." Trust me. But he must say stop criticizing. Yeah, bro. That's it's a typical defender thing. Cephas realized the one strength that he has and he's using it to make a name for himself. Let's support the baller. Some things can't change. I'm not sure about the prize money, you know. I'm not sure about that. Yo, 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 yo. Yeah, man, big up yourself. Win the final. We need positivity, need motivation. Win for team morale. It's funny because you claim that Jonathan Rowe is coming, yet he's in England 21 squad. Doesn't add up to me. So Bravo want to know why you're telling the people that Rowe is coming, Cranky. Yes, they were both there in the team. Brown and Atkinson is there. Okay. Well, I saw the Fabrizio of the Jamaican space. Bam. He came out and said that Busy was there, but I didn't say anything about Brown. That's why I'm asking. I think coach's point is that the coaching in Jamaica hasn't educated and prepared the players well to enable them to compete at a high level. Yeah, that's true. That was the point. But you know, that's the like educational way to say it, Cranky. Some people just went straight Jamaica language and said the player them dunce, and I think that's why it didn't quite go over well, you know. J. Ross, what did he say about Brown after the St. Vincent game? All right, I'm gonna ask J. Ross what the man said. All right, let me keep playing this clip now. So this is the cross that I was looking at. That was a good try, good build up. I like how it got there because it came from the defensive third, a pass, quick move. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And we saw quite a few actions like this in the first half and early in the second as well. The Burrell just couldn't quite get to that one there. See first. But Palmer, give him a high five. It's a good try. Carter, little flat footed at the last second. Well done, Dixon. Well done, Burrell. Dexter. Dixon again. Good turn. Whip it. Dixon should have done better here. First touch not good enough. Touch need to go towards goal, but this is a good stand-up cross from Dexter. I think Casey slightly missed time in jump there. Never get power on the header. But I love the little stand-up cross. There's King going direct again. People, was this a foul? Why? I think he was unlucky there, you know, man. He didn't really use his hands at all. It was a shoulder. Now, maybe you could argue that he was behind the player. So he didn't really have the angle for that. But I don't know, man. I thought that was a harsh call. I agree with the Palmer assessment because I have the same assessment of the player. When we have space to play, Casey is great. Compact, competitive midfield, he struggles. Yeah, look, I always was saying that if you give him the freedom to create, he'll play well. I thought in games where he got a more free role, he played well. The Cuba game being one, the Panama game we won in the third place match being another. I think there's one other one as well. But I think even in the games where he played deeper, he hasn't been as bad as people say. I don't think he's had a game where it's like, yo, this man should never play for Jamaica again. But I've heard that so many times, and I'm like, damn, like, I don't know, man. Sometimes players have average games, and we want to say they sucked, and I just don't see it. I don't see it. Even if you look at all the metrics that a coach would look at, it's like, yo, he wasn't so bad in this game. But I guess, you know, Casey Palmer just needs to play like this every time for people to think he's good. You know, he can't have no average game. Must be for another reason than international football. If he's serious, he should have requested an international change of allegiance, which would prevent him from playing for England U21. Dixon is really the player I like seeing going forward. He not scored. Okay, I asked because standing for JP is it different for people like him? I thought the ref did too much on that call. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought it was fine. Big up JJ. I think he didn't make some of the changes because JJ take the advantage. If they were leading 2-0 with 15 minutes, maybe some other players would have get a chance. Okay, so you're saying because the game was 2-2. And that's why, Franklin, people always cuss me and say I overanalyze every damn thing. But that's why I think every squad you pick, whether it's 20, 23, 60, pick the best damn people because you don't know what situations will arise. The man probably was thinking, all right, this Trinidad game is where I can give chances. And Trinidad equalized the damn game and he couldn't give everybody chances. But that's how football is. You can't predict football. It's very difficult. Even if you predict that you're going to win, and we did win, people weren't thinking it would be a 3-2 at the end. I mean, I was, because we always somehow end up playing Trinidad pretty close. In the last time we beat them by a wide margin was the Gold Cup. And even in that game, for long stretches, it didn't look like the game was going to be that way. Bravo, I can only relate what has been provided to me. Many things happen which affect player decision. For example, Johnson Hall wanted to play U20 and were rejected by Jamaica. Europe, yes, it's a foul. South America and CONCACAF, no. Okay, energy. That is it. Bravo, you should also realize that England is trying hard to retain their talent and will do whatever is necessary to do so. That is true. I don't want to see back that ref he keep giving cards. Yeah, that was Premier League ref. I think Sam Barrett is his name. If Cephas had played smart, we win by 7 clear goal, guys. So what plays in the first half? Since everybody want to talk about Cephas and decision making, I just played 10 minutes worth of first half highlights. Was there a play in the first half that Cephas made a bad decision to cause something? I counted 1. I think he took a bad shot when he should have crossed the ball. I think every other thing that he did was okay. No, this is just a highlight package, people. So don't necessarily mean that's everything that happened, but just in the plays that could have been goals. Now, where I think he has some mishaps is in the second half, which we're about to see now. This is the start of the second half, people. We had a scare right away. Long ball. Oh, they didn't show that play? Wow. So I have to talk about the play. So it's a long ball that is misplayed by Holgate. Bell does the covering, cleans it up, shielding. But somehow Cardenas, who I thought had a really good second half in particular, and parts at the end of the first half, the Crystal Palace youngster, he pickpocket Amari Bell, and it was a good save by Shaquan Davis. One of 2 good saves he had in the game, among some other questionable ball handling from the keeper. But yeah, they didn't show that highlight for some reason, but it happened like literally right after that on the kickoff. But anyway, this was right after that scare. We go long diagonally to Dixon. Good first touch, good underlapping run by Dexter. And people said that Dexter needs some help and he wasn't so good. I didn't see that in his performance, really. I mean, he misplayed a long pass over to his side. I thought he was good. He saw one cross that created a big chance in the first half. That cross wasn't the best, but it was causing problems, and he was working with Dixon here. Here's another play by Lembikisa early in the second half. Does well. He's always been good in these 1v1s, getting a crossing. Good stand up to the back post. And this is what the goal came from. Get a bit of luck, good snapshot there. And then Burrell, brilliant finish. If you watch this highlight package from Burton, he scored like 2 or 3 goals just like that. Half of the rebound, half of the quick reaction, just a fox in the box type of finish, and then the dexterity, the body control to set his body that way and clip it over his head. That was really, really nice finish. I love that finish. Something that we haven't seen from our strikers, that fox in the box mentality. Even something that people are always cussing Antonio about, like just not being there. I think his goal in Copa America was that way because it was a set piece, but a lot of times in the run of play, Antonio is not necessarily inside the width of that goal. He's somewhere linking up play and he's not quite there. So it was just good to see a player on the doorstep after opportunity kind of fortuitous to get that ball back to his feet, Casey Palmer, but it was quick thinking to get off a shot. And in fantasy, he would have gotten an assist, but it don't count that way in international football. But Burrell with a very, very, very good finish. I love that finish. I mean, it's simple, difficult but simple, and it's just a goal where if you're not in that position before the shot, it never happens. So that is good. Maybe it's what people told me about before he came. Same thing with Ravel right now. He got to have a great game for me to give him credit after the campaign. Okay. Well, that is why I believe we shouldn't say certain things unless it's concrete. Jamaican fans run with anything. All right, so Bravo is saying we need a complete shutdown of these player papers and who is coming next, and we just need to shut that all down altogether. But Bravo, that's going to be tough to do, my friend. But then again, we don't really beat any team by a wide margin. Yeah, I mean, the last coach really was Halgrimson. But it was 5-love and 4-1, something like that. Those were like the two biggest wins we have had. We have BVI coming up on the 7th or 6th, whichever day it is. And, that's one that the fans penciled in a whole bunch of goals. But we thought we were going to go to Dominica and bag them up and we beat them 3-2. So, let's see what we do in BVI. But when I speak to fans of KC Club, they say he's inconsistent. Yeah, look, I was surprised that when he got to Hull, he didn't do more, because when I saw him get into that team when he first got there, I'm looking at the players around him and I'm saying, yo, in this number 10 role for this team, I don't really see nobody better than you, but I think with him, it's a consistency problem for sure. He just doesn't seem to keep his level throughout the entire season. Casey Palmer lazy, bro. The back heel was a very poor decision. Yeah, we're gonna get to that play for sure. I think if the midfield that used in the previous game, we'll see Palmer playing good. Okay. So if them use by the same midfield, he will play good. All right. Oh yes, poorly after Ravel or Dixon. Jano star. It was actually Palmer. It was actually Palmer and Dixon on that play. Casey's inconsistent. That's why a player of his ability has been stuck at the championship level for so long. Yeah, I think injuries as well. Have not helped. But I think maybe, to me, he doesn't seem like a 90-minute player. Even when I've seen him like quote unquote fit in championship, he always fades in the second half of games. He'll have a great first half, good, like very similar to this game. Great first half, started up the second half on fire as well, like the first 10-15 minutes, and then hit a wall at about 60. If boy MF, we'll call you the if man tonight, I think you have said if to more CFAS comments than anybody. So MF is the if man tonight. Hindsight is 2020. Every time, everybody has perfect vision about yesterday. What happened is when you expect something from a player, the commentary becomes exaggerated. Nana kick one long ball, people act like he kicked 20. Same thing with CFA's decision making. Yeah, that happens, Rob Smith. That is true. Because again, people, it's a constant, this YouTube space, in a sad way, it's a constant fight to see whose takes are wrong or right, So if a man says something about CFA's last week, and CFA's prove him right this week, the man I got toot the hand about the next week again. I said, me telling you, look what the man do. And then people, so it's a constant tug of war with that. That's why I'm trying not to be too sensational. And most of the time when I talk about player, I try to keep it to this game, because me, in my life, see players get better and worse over time. And that's why I think sometimes in Jamaica, the scouts mess up, because they will say a player is the future, and them show you 25 million times that they're not the future. But because you tell me them are the future, you force me as the future. You force the girl or the boy as the future. No, there might be another one that you keep looking over that is actually the future. I would love to see Chambers get a chance in goal. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think that's one of the biggest decisions him have, actually. Who the hell going to start in goal? Dexter needs some strength training. He wasn't hurried. He just fades. Yeah, look, I think with Dexter, it's clear. Game time in his club, and you get a Dexter that is a very, very top level CONCACAF fullback. But if the game time is up and down, you're going to get some up and down performance from Dexter. Anything but a sea, a shark. Bravo, my sources are good sources, but not perfect, or cannot anticipate players or their families changing their minds. Also, I don't communicate 90% of what I'm told. Yeah, because brother, what I think means a madman, because the amount of different things you hear about the same people, it's crazy. That's a striker instinct. Yes, it is. The coach said that's why I'm scouting. He's always in the box at the right time and I know how to adjust in situations. Fair score, me watch about 30 games with him and he's a very excellent striker. All right, Bosco, keep on watching the players them and commenting, brother. The more educated fans, the better. Boy, I used to say, boy, YouTube cannot do nothing, you know. YouTube cannot do nothing. We just there I give you opinion. But brother, when you can't tell me say Ravel in the team don't have nothing to do with YouTube at all. Clearly, YouTube have something to do with that. After looking at the Ghana versus Nigeria game, I doubt we'll have good result. Algrimson team maybe, as he was more compact defensive as a coach, this coach more open. However, hoping we can pull it off. Well, look, in play, USA as in last game against a team where, you know, so let's see if him learn anything from that game. To be fair to Antonio, have you ever played with this kind of midfield? I don't think Antonio has ever played a game with Hayden in the midfield, no. No, I don't think so. Even when Ravel and DJ them was playing, I think Antonio was out for a lot of those games and it was Bowser playing. So I don't think so. No good cross for Ancona to Alachanto. He picked also to go deep into his own half to pick up the ball in so many games. Yeah, and again, that's why this question by Giggs is a good one because maybe if the midfield is functioning like how it was yesterday, he's not doing this. You know, maybe because people now on the youth so much. I'm just trying to balance it out. Yeah. Me know. I know MF is a person where really like balance. You know, I think that's a part of why I'm like my show because I'm pretty balanced myself. Antonio probably would have been good in this fixture. Him plus a solid midfield. But it happens more than once in every game where Cephas play. If Cephas just look up, he could have multiple assists a game. Him fight himself too much for score when him just pass, the goal will come. Just trying to bring some objectivity to the Cephas convo. I stipulated what he needs to work on. Yeah, you did. Have you heard York post game? He spoke about going from back 3 to 4-3-3. Yeah, look, y'all can say whatever I want about back 3 to 4-3-3. I never see at any point them playing a 3. I mean, Raymond in attack would push up, yes, but out of possession, which they were for a large majority of the first half, it was a back 4. Antonio played with Low and Lati in the CDM role, but I didn't listen to York thing to be honest, Dallas. So I will listen to it, and that was just my analytic eye. That's what I saw. But I guess if the coach tell you what them do, then it's different. This is literally from the kickoff people. Into midfield. Now, all right. So first, I just want to touch on the shape of the team right here. So this is Holgate, who has run out of the defensive line, and a part of why he did that is Molino, who always was finding nice pockets of space. He was pretty free in midfield. Now, if you look, the midfield right now is slightly unbalanced, right? Because Casey Palmer is pretty much in the middle of the park, right here, right where this arrow is. Hayden is to his I guess you'd say right when you're facing the opposition to his right, and Russell is even further to the right. So all three of our central midfielders are basically from the central part of the goal to one wing. So I have no coverage on this left side really, right? So basically what happens is because Palmer is pushed up a bit, when Phillips, the midfielder, turns in midfield and has space, there's no one really tied to the danger man in midfield, Molino. Now, Holgate, being the aggressive type that he is, I think does the right thing to close down the space. So that way, when he receives it, it's not crazy. Now, what I think was wrong here, when Holgate does this step, I think my number 6, which is Hayden right here, I would love for him to just take up the vacated spot and let Holgate do his job. But what happens is Molino does well to turn out of the pressure and not turn into it. And the minute he goes wide, Hayden now, what happens is a lack of communication as well. Because I think right now, Hayden and Holgate need to be making some kind of eye contact to say, okay, which one of us is going to go cover that space I've left? What ends up happening is Holgate just kind of goes back into the space where he would have been, but he never quite gets all the way there because no one ever tracks Molino. So he steps to Molino because he's the danger. You look at Casey Palmer here, I think this is just a byproduct of we just score. Because Casey Palmer right now is in a decent position to cover Molino, you know. But look at what happens when I press play. He just gradually forgets about him. And Cardenas does well because as soon as he starts to get away from him, Cardenas puts it into his path. Look at this. Didn't even wait. He's already played the pass. Now, Holgate, who probably, if he never ran up, would have been somewhat more in line with King for better coverage centrally. He's now in kind of almost no man's land. And here's the mistake he makes now. So when that first touch is made, from this point on, Holgate doesn't move. I think he might slide one more foot this way, but he never really comes to engage Molino at all. He just kind of wants to try to read where he's going to pass the ball or shoot to block it, right? But Molino does well to just compose himself and look up. And I think Leacock's movement is good as well because right now it looks like Dexter, who is on the goal scorer, Leacock right here, is close enough to get to him. But look what happens. So again, this is something that I noticed in this game a few times with Richard King. Look at Richard King right here. Now you tell me, people, what good is Richard King's position right here? What is he really stopping? He's not stopping a far post shot. He's not cutting out a cross to either one of these players. And if the cross gets through to them, especially this man, he's basically unimpeded into the goal. So what ends up happening? Lembikisa sees the man closer to goal as the more immediate threat. And right now, King is in no man's land. So look where King is here. He's in a decent central position right now. But he's literally this is the definitive, this is the definition, sorry, of ball watching. And many of them do it. King does it, Holgate does it, definitely Palmer, Hayden, and out of the picture right now, Russell, all guilty of ball watching on display. Amari Bell, I don't fault Bell so much for this particular goal because Bell is saying, okay, I'm not going to let you cut inside on me. I'm going to kind of give you the middle. But Cardenas, again, he's expecting him to face up 1v1. I think at this point, Cardenas kind of knows I'm going to pass the ball. But he doesn't really show his hand yet. And he doesn't give Bell time to react to that movement by Molino because he plays it. Now, once he plays it, again, look at King now. If King stays right where he is right now, if he just glances over his right shoulder to be aware of the two Trinidad players, I don't think the movement he does next even happens. But I don't think he ever really looks again. Once this Molino guy gets the ball, King is fixated on the football. Look at this. Look at this. Look where his eyes are. He has not swiveled one time over. Right? Same with Hayden. Hayden doesn't know what's going on behind him all now. Right? I think the only one that was trying to do something in this play is Dexter. And because Dexter was closest to the ball, I'm hearing people cussing Dexter. But look what Dexter has to do. This guy closer to the goal is unmarked. So he's trying to cover the man. He would be the more dangerous player right now. And if Hayden had looked over his shoulder, he would have seen that this player, Leacock, he's the closest to cutting out this pass right in this channel. But he doesn't look back either. He's just looking at the ball. So when he wraps this inside, you have to give the forward credit as well because he did well to put that under his spell from such a short distance and the pass coming so hard because he didn't take very long to get a shot off. But that was a number of errors. But I will say that King, Holgate, Hayden, the most culpable on that play. To a lesser extent, Russell, because he was a little more out the play, and Palmer in the beginning of the play. So there were quite a few things that went wrong, but I think people are missing a couple of things in that play. The sleeping nature of Palmer's tracking of Molino, the ball watching of King before the cross comes in, The lack of stepping and closing down by Holgate when Molino gets the ball in that like inside right channel in the box. And I think people are also downplaying the technique of Leacock with the first touch and the finish. It didn't take very long for any of that to happen. So I don't want to take anything away from Trinidad's execution, but it was very avoidable if players just had their head more on a swivel and weren't so attached and in love with the football. He just wasn't called by the coach, referring to the defensive midfielders. Oh, okay, the defensive midfielders, got you. I don't understand why Pinnock cannot be added for the final if he's there. That would put him in form for the qualifiers. He can be added. He can be added. Nobody say he couldn't be. Maybe he asked not to be. I don't know. You know what's funny? See if us no play so for him club. Him pass when he pass and shoot. And the goals, me see him score for him club, shot me sometimes. So I don't know why when him a play for J, him play so. Yeah, he played a little more like his club yesterday. A little more. They started as a 3, says Cranky. Russell supposed to get blamed too because all him do I watch the play and now mark nobody. Because the player will score, that's his mark. That can't be his mark, J Basco. The striker scoring. Holgate or Colgate, according to Popcorn. I'm not seeing enough from him. Yeah, Holgate is the next one, my brother. People just not like the man. I mean, it's clear. I don't think he's been bad. For such high level footballers, them love ball watch and now mark nobody. Brother, but people in the wait name there, people in the Premier League ball watch too. So it's just something that happens in games. I think there's a saying in football, the most vulnerable time for a team is when them just score. And that is it right there. I think everybody just had that little percentage of shut off because them just did score. And that was enough, and Trinidad executed, Yeah, man, I got to plead the truth all the time. At least my truth. You might not agree, but it's my truth. Dexter and King need to talk more. Great breakdown, Jason. Yeah, for sure. For sure, because I think Dexter panicked and went to the guy closer to the goal, but I think King was so fixated on the ball. You see where the man end up? When I paused it originally, the man is in a great position to cut out that ball. Lack of communication cause. Yeah, for sure. They weren't talking enough. I did talk about Palmer, how he let Molina just run off his shoulder and didn't even care. I did talk about it. Yeah, I did talk about it. I said he was the first link to the whole chain was Palmer's reluctance to stay with Molina. Did you notice JA is the only team in this competition with the names on their jerseys? Unless you know the players, it's difficult to know who is who. Yeah, AM Henry is a part of why I never start the stream earlier, cause I know I was going to commentate and I was like, let me make sure I know the numbers and the names of these damn Trinidad players, because if it's one thing I can't stand when I listen commentaries when a man say, and the number 17 with a shot, it makes me, I hate it. So I don't want to be that guy. Exactly. I mean, when King move, him should have look and pick up the player. Yes, absolutely. If the coach didn't call Boza, I think that speaks volumes. Look like McLaren has moved on. Yeah, I think there's other things at play besides just on the field too. Cephas made mistakes, but he was a danger throughout the game. Yeah, there's many players in world football where the coach knows he's gonna get some foolishness from, but you take the good with the bad. I think that's what we have to. That's what people that want Cephas to play from the start or more. They have clearly come to grips with that because he's gonna make mistakes on the pitch. That's for sure. Which most players are going to. I just showed you a clip where there were 4 mistakes in one play. So yeah, we brought down this game in this goal enough. I'm not gonna go back to it again. I think that attacker deserves some credit. Man control the ball dead. This was brilliant from Borrell. Hold up play. Link. 1, 2, 3. Look at the fluidity. Now here's Cephas now with the madness. Casey Palmer wide open. Haven't looked up yet. Dixon in front of you. Haven't looked up yet. People, this is what I talk about. The frustration, man. Peas and peas. Dixon can't believe it. Coach can't believe it. But look at this brilliant football. Hold up play. Dixon, good one touch, two touch. Russell, good ball into the box by Burrell. Good first touch. Losing footing. Panic. Back heel. Splash at it. Peas and peas. People, look at Sifa's head. Look at Sifa's head. Look at Sifa's head. Look at Sifa's head. Look at Sifa's head throughout that whole thing. No, the man say, yo, let me just pick it up one time and see what I want. Look at this. Peas and peas. People, I'm not saying he wasn't threatening all game, but my word, man, when a man say he need to get better upon him decision making and not cost them, only can cost them. Just look upon what the man does do, no? I mean, you have, look at this, Casey Palmer, Dixon. Which one? Pick one. Either one. My gosh, man. Pick your head up. Pick your head up. Jeez. Yeah, so that was a play that was very frustrating. That was a play that was very frustrating. Okay, cool. Yeah, that happens sometimes. You know how it go. You think you see a comment in real time, but it happened already. Okay, cool. I am not at liberty to share, you know what I'm saying, but I believe it will come out in due course. So I'll let time be the master of that one there. You know, I'm not the breaking news kind of guy still, so I'll let some other people break the news and I'll talk and give my take when the news break. That one is criminal from Cephas. Yeah, it was bad. Cephas have some corner league ball knowledge. I'll know him to look up. Yeah, that to me was the most criminal thing. When he took the touch, even when he slipped, even in that moment, you know, just look and see what go on for just like, I don't know, man. Yeah. Shots fired, Demo. Shots fired. Me leave them to the broken news boss them, you know? Broken news boss them. Yeah, no, I won't break that. I'll leave that to others. I'll have my comments when it's public, you know? All right, so here's the equalizer from Trinidad. Now, something that needs to be brought up about this play right here. So, when this foul occurred, in the stadium, they announced substitutions for Burrell coming off and Daniel Green coming on, and Palmer coming off and Ravel coming on. But, you know, most old school coaches and coaches in general, they don't like to substitute on a defensive free kick or a corner. Anything where they have to defend, they don't really like to make the sub. But I believe there was a bit of confusion with marks and what people were supposed to be doing. So, yeah, let's just see how this one played out. Take it off a slow speed. So one thing I don't love about this already, if you look at where, like, I think this is Kaheem Dixon and this is Dexter. I would like for Cephas to get goal side so that we'll have a little better numbers in terms of the rebound because, well, obviously we know that it was a rebound goal, but I want you guys to see the reaction of the two players closest to our goal compared to the Trini players. The Palmer is still standing in the same spot, right? Palmer doesn't move at all, which is horrible. Now Holgate and Dexter try, but that's a situation where I want the instinctual defensive players to be closer to my goal. So Casey Palmer being the closest player to the goal, to me, is not right because he don't have the instinct to, you know, and this ain't even about instinct, it's just effort. When the ball goes towards your goal, run back towards your goal. Now, Shaquan Davis was a little unlucky, and you see on the replay, he was beaten by the free kick, and it was going to fly off the post and head wide of everyone towards the sideline. But it clips off one of his heels, and it flicks up right in the air in the path of Molina to head it. That was a bit unlucky for sure. But I just feel like the effort by Palmer here is just shocking. Like literally, he doesn't move from where he was when the ball was kicked. Holgate and Dexter are the only two that realized that this could be dangerous. And like I said, it was unlucky. I believe, like if you look where this ball is heading after it hit the post, the ball is heading like look at my cursor, like back here so somewhere, literally like across. And perhaps where Holgate is now, he'll be able to get to that if it goes this side. Because look at Holgate, he's reacting to that first initial movement. He's already in front of Moore, but the heel brings it back up into the air closer to Molino. So it was really fortunate for Trinidad there. But again, Palmer culpable. So this is later in the game. They've skipped out a lot of plays. There was another CFAS miss, but this is the penalty that was earned late in the game. And this looked like when he passed it, I was like, oh my God, Amari, man, you pass it too hard. But to be fair, CFAS never gives up on it. And also, the coach had made a sub. He took off Jelani Peters, who played decent at left centre back, and he brought on Justin Garcia. And Garcia just made a mock of this. He's already pointing to his keeper now to come and get the ball from there. Now, how can you expect his keeper to start? He needs to take ownership, but I think he knows this brother named Cephas. Because Cephas chased a couple ball before this, and the man seemed speed, So the man just panic. Look at this. He's begging, come keeper, come. Him stop run. And he just never shielded him or anything, and that was poor. And Cephas, the keeper, I felt sorry for him. He's 40 odd years old. Don't have the legs like one time, and Cephas just beat him to that one. Very obvious penalty. Trinidad players were upset, but I mean, it had to be given. It was clear. It was clear. But again, the close control, he might have just kicked this away in times past. He was trying to just touch it past him. And good job leaving that leg behind as well to kind of force the call. So Richard King stepped up people, and I must say the boy was confident in this penalty. It was brilliantly taken. Good, good diving attempt by Philip. He goes to the right side, but that penalty with enough power and enough height is pretty much unstoppable. You can't really dive far and high. You have to choose one. So, yeah, he went for the dive to the corner, but your hand can't extend so high up in the air based on the height that King put on it. But it was well struck, well taken, good composure. And, he basically struck it like he was never in doubt, which is what you want to see. So, Richard King ended up sealing it for us in the 94th minute. So we could avoid the headache of penalties and the nerves. But you see the fans out there going crazy. McLaren saying, keep your heads, that we just conceded the last time. But yeah, you could see that Trinidad was very dejected. And that pretty much played out the game. And that was the 3-2. There was a couple other plays in the second half. Cephas got a ball inside that he took a shot with his left foot. Probably was the right decision, but it was a weaker effort. And then the rebound fell to Ravel, who was blocked by Alvin Jones. But yeah, I think all in all, Daniel Green was horrible. I can't leave that out. He basically just never did anything right. I've never seen him play so bad before. You know what I'm saying? The coach did look upset and now sit him down and talk to him about it. The coach start to blame too, because it looked like them not watch over film. Come like him, I got have to apply. You have to go apply? No, I did see some improvements in Cephas. You know what I'm saying? Some improvements. Now, other times him revert to how him is and him kind of have the tunnel vision, but it wasn't tunnel vision every single time him get the ball. Yeah. Cephas lacked awareness, never glanced. Yeah. Jason, it's like that show where the juicy part comes at the end and you have to wait until the next episode to see what happened. Yeah. I know, bro. But hey, that's a tactic, It's a tactic we creators have to use, Can't just give you everything every time. Sometimes I wonder if them watch over films when them play, because it don't look so. Jamaicans only watch football. They don't study football. Dean Messam, facts. But it's common sense. Him just stand up and look, kiss my teeth. Him always do that. I'm going to give credit to Trinidad on that goal. The attackers are running forward and defense has to be set. I cannot move before the ball is kicked. Palmer couldn't affect the play. I would agree with you in a sense, but the only sense I wouldn't. Why is it that Holgate could have been where he was and Palmer, Holgate and Dexter were where they were, and Palmer was where he was? So I'm not taking credit away from them, But imagine if Palmer made that third person there. Maybe Molina is not unmarked and just goes up. Maybe him getting fought. Maybe, him headed over the bar because I'm under pressure. You never know, but we'll never know because Palmer didn't move at all. You know what I mean? Yes, it's easier for them to run in because they're coming from deeper, but just a little more effort, man. A little more effort could have stopped that, man. Come on. Anyway, people, that is pretty much it for the analysis of the game, the highlights and stuff. I think a couple of key points that I was going to make from earlier that I don't want to forget. So I wrote them down, so I just want to look at them. Okay, yeah. So, so one thing I learned from the game is that it looks like the way McLaren trying to play right now, the system kind of requires a mobile central striker, right? And when I say mobile, I think he has to pretty much be versed in running off the last line of defense more so than anything else. Now, we did see certain plays like back to goal, good link up, but I think what made that link up work even better is that when Burrell played the pass to a player, he was a willing runner to run around them, overlap them, overload the wing. And you could see that all the three front players were comfortable cutting inside. Cephas doesn't mind cutting inside, finishing off a play. Dixon was more than willing to run inside and finish off a play. But all of that doesn't work unless the central forward is willing to run those diagonal channels religiously. The added bonus I thought to Burrell's game is he looked even more competent than I thought when he had his back to goal. It didn't always stick, but when it did, he made really good decisions and he was neat and tidy. But the overall thing, the mobility that he showed in and out of possession. I wouldn't say we went with an all-out press, but we had a really good mid-block setup where we had specific triggers and areas of the pitch where we would go and press, particularly if Dixon and Russell, especially in that first half, they were trying to hone in on Raymond and Molina and try to not let them out of certain areas. The same would go for Casey and Cephas on the other side, but to a much lesser extent. I think Russell and Dixon were much more effective at doing it and turning people over. Also, I loved in the first half, especially before we got tired, right? If we didn't win that first ball when we tried to double up with the Russells and Dixon, one thing I really loved was we would allow Trinidad to play these little passes into midfield, back to defense, into midfield, back to defense. The minute one of those midfielders tried to turn and play a through pass or a driving pass forward, we had people there blocking and plugging gaps. Once about the 35th minute hit, those gaps started to get wider and wider. That closing down got less and less. And that's why I say we need to make sure that our players are in optimum fitness. And if that's not going to be the case, we need to make sure that we trust our options off the bench. Because if we keep playing this game of, okay, I don't trust these pieces off the bench, things are going to drop off too much, we're going to concede goals late, and we're going to let teams come back into games all the time. Another thing that I pointed out and I want to talk about with you guys here. Do you guys think that this dual 8/10s can work against stronger opposition? Because I think one of the reasons why we fell into a little bit of stress in that second half in particular is when those dual 8/10s started to tire, especially for the most part Casey, some of that area in midfield was a lot more open than it needed to be. And then when you couple that fact with, in the championship this year, as great as Isaac Hayden was for Portsmouth, he's a 65, 70-minute sub-off player. That's what he's been all season in the championship. Look at all his games. He subs off pretty much all the time. Sometimes he plays longer, like 80, 85th, but most of the time, 65, 66, 68, 70 minutes, he's off the pitch. So we have Casey Palmer, who's that type of player. We have Isaac Hayden, who's that type of player. John Russell is the only one of the three that this season played more often than not the full 90 minutes. And you could see that in the game. He was the one that I think tired the least out of all the midfielders. Even though his energy levels dropped, it didn't drop as significantly as the other twos, I thought. Now, Hayden is a little bit easier to hide it, but I think against better opposition, we're going to maybe need to go with more dual sixes with 1 8/10. Or if we're going to play this dual 8/10 system, one of those 8s is going to have to be much more aware of what the other one is doing, because we left Hayden exposed in the second half when he didn't quite have the legs anymore, and there was just more space in front of the defense than we needed to have, space that wasn't necessarily there for large chunks of the first half, right? And the last thing, people, is the couple more players coming in. All I see so far is busy. I'm hearing Warner Brown in the comment section. We played with 20 yesterday. In essence, 17 outfield players. Only, 13 of them got to see the field. So, I would like to think that if we get a couple players in that the coach really wants to see, we'll have a much better chance of using up an entire 6 subs that's allotted in these friendly matches. So, look, I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday. I won't be able to do the live stream. I have too much going on that day, so I just won't be able to do it, sad to say. But I'll definitely return once I watch back the game with some post-match. More than likely that day, I'll probably watch the game back before doing a late-night post-match maybe. I'm sure the streets might be full, so I might just wait till Sunday to do my show. But yeah, man, please do smash a like on the video. I've been slacking on that today. I haven't said that nearly enough. I need to get better at that, people. I need to move like a true YouTuber and actually say people need to like the damn videos. People, I want to say as well, we have had a nice push in subs of late. I haven't really been as consistent as I need to be, I think, for the channel to grow how I would want it. So I won't really blame the fans for me not being where I need to be with my subscriber count. But I'm going to do a much better job moving forward of communicating better with the subscribers as to when we're going to go live. Sometimes it's just, it's hard for me not to just do spur of the moment videos, because you guys wouldn't understand how much things I got going on, you know what I mean? But from first and foremost, I actually watch football. So a lot of times when other people are live, I can't be live because I'm watching football. And then, you put the family in the mix, you put everything going on in the mix. It's just difficult for me to really say, yes, this is my time when I'll go on lives. So people, I just want to say respect to all the people that tune in all hours of the day whenever you see me go live. Also, all the people that watch back videos when they're not live, because a lot of my viewership is from playbacks and replays. So that's another reason why I know that my content has some staying power, because even if there's a very small amount of you on the lives, by a couple of days time, the views are like double, triple. So really, really appreciate people just going out and getting the information even after the fact. I try to leave the live chat replay on so that people can follow along, because I do interact with the chat a lot. So I know when you're watching the replay, it's nice to be able to see what was being said to make sense of what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. People, big up on yourself. Thanks for tuning in. Let me just show love to the chat really quickly. A lot of people did tune in and give their thoughts, which is what we love on the channel. You ever notice when Cephas are kick him, always lean back, slip, and kick? Whenever see Cephas kick a proper direct shot for them, always dead. Cephas package and sell that penalty. Yeah, man, big time. I don't want to be controversial, but do you believe that a player like Junior Flemings could add some value to the team on the right, like Cephas does on the left side? I think right now, Junior Flemings is better player than Ronaldo Cephas. That might be a controversial take, because Cephas is what everybody loves right now, but Junior Flemings is better than him as a footballer right now as we speak, to me. Thanks for the reminder. I had one. I do appreciate it. Palmer and Ravel and Bobby can share game. So all 3 of those players. Okay. I like that, I like having multiple players, man, because, different opponents might require a different solution. I've always said that. Sometimes we get so bogged down in, we have the player already, so we don't need the next one. No. That player might get sick. That player might break him toe. That player might need to go home after the first game of the window. We have seen it all. So, options. Exactly. Options are the best thing. It's like when I was a younger man before being married, brother, you couldn't tell me say me have too much woman. Options are good. You need a Monday night option and a Tuesday night option and a Wednesday night, Thursday. You know what I mean? My jersey is retired though, people. I want to speak about those things now. I don't even think that way anymore. One burner set it. Did you give your prediction for Saturday? No, I did not give a prediction, you know. I did not give a prediction, you know. I did not give a prediction. I'm gonna hold off my prediction as well, you know, because today is what, Wednesday. I'll do some content before. I'll do a pre-match on Friday, probably on Friday night. That's where I'll bust out my predictions because I won't be doing a live stream Saturday. So I'll do my predictions on Friday night before the game Saturday. Junior better than Cephas in which world? Ooh, I knew that would be a controversial take, but that's how I feel nowadays. That's how I feel. Hey, watch the ball I play in the UAE Pro League, you know. Don't take the man thing light, you know, man. The man I play some good ball, you know. But Jason, too many options, too many responsibility. Hey, yeah. Well, now you get literal with the woman them. May attack footballers now. But I guess it can go that way as well because you don't want to really upset this man by not playing. But you know, I would hope. Because one thing, you know, for all the things that we might cuss McLaren about tactics wise, I believe that he's a good man manager. I think most players that play for him don't have no bad thing to say about him in terms of relationship with them. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one thing. Yeah, I figured that would be controversial to a lot of people. I know Flemmer is the type of person. Flemmer and Alvas, you see them two bars especially. People there's a thing called PTSD and it's real. And from like say the ball they dead to me, them really dead to people. No matter what the man do, a 4 straight year the man produce from Serbia go right back to UAE, you know, 4 straight year. And because people just, you know, he was seen as one of the big problems with the team. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Yeah, man, I think that's one thing you can't take from the coach. Every player that I hear talk about him, they might not say he's a tactical genius or nothing like that, but they ain't going to have an issue with how him deal with them as a person. So I would like to think that he's a good coach to deal with options because he will know to finesse the convo them to say, listen, this game we're going to go with this, next game we're going to look at this. Like, it seems like he's a good communicator as far as like game concern, like if you're going to play or not play. You know, because I haven't really heard much eruption since he's been there with him and any players, to be honest. Ravel said the same really good man manager. I saw Flemmo in France. Yes, that was in France. But remember, you know, since France, you know, he played 2 seasons in Serbia where he was not off the pace. And then played 2 seasons in UAE where he's not off the pace. Or maybe this is the first season out there. Yeah, so 2 seasons in Serbia and then this season in UAE. I think that's how it go. But his last 3 seasons, strong performances, bro. Strong. Anyway, people, them time now, I get some, well, I don't know, I won't call it a rest, but I'm gonna go and spend some time with the wife. Yeah, so if you don't see me, well, you won't see me for the rest of the night because I'll be busy. All right, people. So big up on yourself. Who would you bring in Flemmo for? Kaheem Dixon. Right now. I think Flemmo will give me the same work rate like Kaheem with end product, with some strength. So yeah, if I'm just looking at this Unity Cup squad, I mean, obviously Daniel Green, but I'm talking like more in the main squad who we see picked all the time. Flemmo over Dixon for me. Jason, don't believe everything you hear. A certain person on YouTube started a rumor about Flemmo pushing Andre Gray after scoring. People just ran with it. Yeah. Them saying they diss him up in the Suriname game after him score and all that kind of things. Charles Brahma dead with laugh. Yeah, bro, I've said too much. Anyway, big up yourself. And thanks so much for tuning in. BM, I don't even want to even dig into who that person is, but it's all good. It's on tape, the push. Yeah. You know, I remember watching that game, you know, and it did look away still. Me not lie, it did look away. Like him kind of just run past the brother if he go celebrate with the next brother type of thing, you know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that game, right? The Suriname game in Jamaica will beat them 3-1. Is it that game or is the one in Suriname? It might have been the one in Suriname. Because I know him scoring at both of the game them. The two leg them when he play them. Yeah, when you look at it again. And Andre tried to celebrate with him and then push him off. Yeah. I remember seeing that in real time, man. I remember seeing that. It's not true. Oh, it was at the Gold Cup. Oh, so it was when him score against Guadeloupe then. Okay. If they're toxic, leave them out. Well, Brahma, them did I say Ravel toxic too, you know. But every time I see the man take picture in a camp, alone teeth, me I say, so I don't know. Toxic must have a different meaning. Okay, Guadeloupe. Yeah, as him say Gold Cup, me know say Guadeloupe. Okay, so BM said there's no clear evidence. All right, so I like how I get homework for my next show. So yo, you see Friday before for the pre-match, I'm gonna pull up the tape and play it right here, Exhibit A in the courtroom, and we would have the discussion. Was this a clear disrespect? Yeah, man, that's my homework. I'll be back Friday with that. But yeah, big up on yourself. Okay, Ravel was very divisive as well, but he's from England. Wow. So I say division only allowed when they're not from England. Is that what you're saying, BM? I'm confused. BM. BM, you like to cause confusion sometimes. You know? That knows, you know. All right, big up on yourself, people. You can't draw me out no more. I'm gone. I'm gonna deal with my wifey. Big up on yourself, people. Whenever we reach the end of the show, you're gonna hear these words every time. I am Jason Gooner. This is Jason Gooner TV, and you don't know where I'm going. I'm gonna come on you Gooners tonight. Come on, Reggae Boyz.